Hi, I'm here today with Forrest, and Forrest arrived at LaBelle Equestrian for training yesterday. So his owner would like for him to be a little bit more respectful of space, and also he's very anxious. So he was a rescue. She got him from a rescue and was looking for a horse for trail riding and just to enjoy as a companion. So he has not quite fit the bill. So we're hoping to be able to get him more settled and ready. So I'm going to start with a deep breath. Going to work on setting some boundaries. So he tends to run over people. So I'm going to use my wand here to set a boundary. I think sometimes he pushes into people and kind of runs over, pulls away, things like that. So we're going to have to start with some boundaries. Without boundaries, I really can't help him very much. I have to be able to keep myself in a safe space. So I need to be able to stay calm and grounded without being run over by a horse. Now here, I want him to respect the boundary without touching. So I use my wand and I can make a little whooshing noise if I need to. I'm starting him on the lead line today, and that's going to allow me to give him a little more guidance. You can see that he comes into my space here. He's insecure, at least now he's not freaking out. But he tends to, I think of it as sort of dumping emotional junk on his people. So instead of processing and releasing all of this tension that probably came from some previous bad experience, he's just kind of putting it on people. You can see here how he comes in my space. He's a real sweet guy. But until he releases all of this baggage, he's not going to be a safe horse for his owner to take trail riding. So, again, as much as I want to put my hands on him, and I will, all right. And I also need to be a calm and grounded presence for him. So if I can't keep myself safe, I'm not going to be able to keep him safe. I want to make sure I'm breathing. I'm taking deep breaths. The voice that I'm using has a tone that's sort of calming and rhythmic. I'm using these different things, my voice, my breath, just my body language, to help have a calming influence on Forrest. So that's where we're going to start, simply by holding my own space and trying to provide a source of comfort for him. A grounded presence. And I keep noticing he wants to press in. So again, I'm just using my wand. I call this, I'm protecting my own bubble here. And once we get that established, I'm going to start working on defining a bubble around the horse so that I can set boundaries around him without touching. So I call stopping the bubble if I get in front of the horse and wave the line. So again, we're not really even working on that yet. Right now, I'm just working on maintaining my own space. One thing I noticed yesterday when I evaluated Forrest is as I ran my hands over his body, there were areas that were very cold. The owner said that he gets stuck, he doesn't want to go forward, so getting him to trot can be challenging. And my assessment is he's very frozen. I think he's kind of holding a lot of inner tension. So I'm so glad that he came to me, because of course this is exactly the kind of thing I like to do the most. All right, so I'm going to ask him to follow the rope up. A challenge of recording this session is trying to keep him in the space. So we are going to work on keeping him in this space, so you can see. And I'm just going to start with my hands on the most simple technique we can use is just being present, and here I'm just gently laying my hand on as I breathe deeply. I feel my hand kind of start to sink in. I'm noticing what I'm feeling, and so in this horse, I'm feeling a little bit of quivering. So there's a nervous energy, and there's sort of this little bit of quivering in the muscles. So with my intention, and my breath, and my grounded presence, I want to think of just calming that down. Now here, he started to come into my space this way. So I practice setting a boundary with my body and softly moving him away from it. He's breathing fast. So again, I'm just going to hold this space. There I'm using my wand and ask him to move away from it. I'm not controlling him, although I am trying to keep him in this space. And there, he's beginning to release a bit. We're seeing a little licking and chewing. And here, the fidget. So before the release, and here this was reversed. Often before a release, we'll see some fidgeting. So again, I might stay here for quite some time and just slowly wait for him to soften. Setting boundaries. I'm going to ask him just to shift back a little. So I'll ask him to step back with a light pressure, and if he gets stuck, I add a little tapping. When I get that movement, I want a big release. So I'm going to let go. So here I can also work on using the wand if I need to stop him from going forward. So I'm not using actual physical pressure. So if I want the horse to release to a very light touch, I've got to start with no pressure. I call this the pressure-free zone here. So no actual physical pressure on, so that then just the lightest touch can create a movement. So there I just ask for the tiniest movement in the withers. And I'm going to let him move his head around if he needs to. I might add a little movement. Just gently rocking. So a horse that's frozen, adding very small movements can help get them to release. And again, we're working on these boundaries at the same time. Goes down, that's generally a good sign. Now I'm just letting my hand run along his back here and just noticing what I feel. And I see that his attention is, oh, here when I get a blink, I'm going to stay here. Now if he moves, here's backing, I'm just going to move with him to stay in position so I can keep my hand in that spot. But he is starting to pay a little more attention to what's going on here, what I'm doing, and less on the distractions around him. I'm just watching how he responds and just noticing and responding to him. So there, I'm just going to ask him to shift back a little bit again into this space. So this is part of his training, learning to respond to these boundaries, how to move in response to a light touch. And so we're teaching these things But at the same time, I tell people I'm not a professional body worker. That would be my friend. But I want to just use this to help him to release and let go. So there we got some big fidget, and then we get some licking and chewing. So I'm noticing as I go along his body again, just what I'm feeling here. Maybe just encouraging a little movement in the pelvis. Try to keep him here so we can see. And maybe I'll go to the other side here. So as I'm working with the horse, I watch their eyes a lot. The eyes will tell you a lot. If I see the blinks, I'll stay there. That kind of indicates that you've hit a trigger. And I'll notice the mouth. A horse that's nervous carries a lot of tension around the mouth, and you'll see more wrinkles. So I'm going to look for a softening around the mouth. And again, you'll notice that I'm working on setting a boundary on the side and asking him to soften away from that. And as soon as he softens away, releasing the pressure. So a lot of times, this is a very simple thing, but he braces the neck, and we want to shift that brace response to one of softening and yielding. Developing a soft neck is huge. And when we think of suppling the horse as we ride, we're using the rein to ask the horse to soften and bend. So teaching the horse to release to that light touch, to that gentle pressure, before we ever ride them is really important so that they understand that concept. If we can keep the neck soft, this is going to have a tremendous effect on keeping the horse soft throughout their body and more relaxed. You'll notice, anytime the horse gets anxious or, they're shifting into that fight or flight mode, the head usually will go up and the neck braces. When the horse is relaxed and in that rest and restore mode, the head is down. They're grazing or whatever. So looking for that head down indicates a more relaxed state of the nervous system. So I've just been keeping my hand in this spot behind the withers and asking him to soften the neck. So, I guess this doesn't really look a whole lot like traditional training, but it really works. With a horse like this, we need to create new responses. So he's got a lot of, again, anxiety. He's probably, not had a lot of security in his past. With these rescues, a lot of times that I find that, they just don't see humans as a safe space. So they're comfortable when they're around other horses. When we take them away from the other horses, sometimes they'll get really anxious. When Forrest came into the stall today, he was very nervous. He doesn't like to come in the barn. So I brought him out first today. So hopefully when he goes back in with his buddies, he'll be more relaxed. See that he's staying here with me in my space. So I'm starting to provide a place of safety where he can kind of let go, feel more comfortable. And then as we move further in the training and I'm asking him to do more things, we have developed that soft response, and we've developed that response of yielding and just releasing and letting me guide him. And so this is where it begins. Hi, buddy.